Hello, beautiful people. How are ya? I hope you're having a great day. I was preparing a different video for today when I came across a video with Dr. Genevra Liptan. She spoke at the Fibromyalgia Community Conference in November of 2022. Today, I'm going to talk about her presentation. She went over that wonderful mouse study that everyone is talking about. I will add some explanations here and there as I cover this topic. It's a bit long, so I have sectioned it into two parts. Today is part one. So here we go. Most of the immunoglobulins in our blood are IgG. IgG antibodies are the most common type of antibody found in the blood. They stick around in our system like a blueprint so that if we're exposed to the same germs again, our immune system can quickly make more antibodies. In that fibromyalgia study on mice, researchers took antibodies from healthy people and from fibromyalgia patients. The mice that received antibodies from fibromyalgia patients got fibromyalgia symptoms. They had higher pain sensitivity and pain signaling and were less active. They also had damaged nerves in their paws. These antibodies bind to a particular extension of the spinal cord that is important at how pain signaling gets interpreted by the brain. I'll explain more of this in a moment. This shows an immune component in fibromyalgia. Their ability to bind to pathogens means they make up an important part of our immune system and our immune defense. They also neutralize toxins, but when they go wrong, they can also trigger autoimmune attacks on human tissues, which is what the authors of the mice study feel is occurring in fibromyalgia. Instead of attacking tissues, the immune system is attacking the actual nerves. What's important is the IgG from the fibromyalgia patients never made it to the spinal cord or the brain. Instead, it mostly accumulated in the glial cells surrounding the dorsal root ganglia. While the glial cells just outside the spinal cord became hyperactive, the activity of the glial cells inside the spinal cord remained at normal levels. All mice went back to normal after a few weeks when their bodies worked out all the antibodies. The fact that the mice returned to normal when the fibromyalgia IgG levels declined suggested that the illness is not permanent and could be reversed by removing the autoantibodies from fibromyalgia patients. They suggest that therapies like plasmapheresis and immunoadsorption, which is being assessed in ME/CFS, could help. Other therapies which target the suspect autoantigens when and if they are found, as well as therapies like IVIG, are possibilities. That is so exciting. So now pharmaceutical companies can see a target for medication. They potentially will pour in billions of dollars of research to complete that task. So we should see a lot more money coming into research studies on fibromyalgia. Researchers will explore these findings because at no time did systemic cytokine levels increase in the mice study. In fact, Dr. Liptan was contacted by a pharmaceutical company about a medicine this company was developing just 3 months after this research was published. So good news. Whatever the IgG was doing, it was doing it very locally. Goebel's findings in this mice study could explain one of the great mysteries in fibromyalgia and ME/CFS. Why cytokines, often associated with pain and fatigue, haven't been found to be consistently upregulated in these diseases. Future research will be transformed. Kevin Tracy, an MD, in his review, proposed therapies that interfere with IgG binding to the glial cells and dorsal root ganglia. I'll explain these in a moment. Or those that stop the cells from reacting will also hopefully be developed. Microglia are support and immune cells of the central nervous system. They are the main reason that central sensitivity occurs. The brain is amplifying pain signals, which make us overly sensitive. Many of us hate hearing overly sensitive to input coming in. They're resident macrophages of the brain. The microglia are activated as the resident security guards. They're ready to go in and fight when there's danger. They generate a huge amount of inflammatory and excitatory chemicals and neuronal activation. This is how fibro has been explained for the last 20 years. In 2002, Roland Stodd released a study called Evidence of Involvement of Central Neural Mechanisms in Generating Pain. This provided an objective, repeatable study. Prior to 2002, there wasn't any objectionable research data to show that fibromyalgia patients were experiencing the pain, fatigue, and fog they described. And that's why doctors stated it's not real and it's all in your head. In the 2002 study, researchers put fibromyalgia patients in an MRI machine, and fibromyalgia patients needed much less stimulus to feel pain than the control group. It took almost double the amount of clamping down on their thumb for people without fibromyalgia to feel pain. This was extraordinary in the time because similar areas of the brain lit up in the same way as the control group. But there were other areas of the brain within fibromyalgia patients that lit up. And because of this research is why we have duloxetine, Cymbalta, and pregabalin, Lyrica. And they were developed over that next decade. In 2010, researchers, Gertie et al., released a study called Increased Interstitial Concentrations of Pyruvate and Lactate in the Trapezius muscle of patients with fibromyalgia, a microdialysis study. This study found that people with fibromyalgia experience muscle pressure that is almost at the point of a surgical emergency called compartment syndrome, where the muscle pressure is so high that it can damage muscles. But in fibromyalgia, it's not quite that high, but almost. So our muscles are really angry and inflamed and working really hard. And so we use up that energy, which creates an inflammatory reaction in the muscles. Muscles become tight, tense, and inflamed, but also the fascia surrounding the muscles. Subsequent studies came after this one about our muscle pressure being higher than normal. But after the central sensitivity determination and with new medication coming out around 2012, funding dropped off because they thought they had it all figured out. It's still in our head, but we'll call it central sensitization, and then we're good. That's how Dr. Liptan put it. I love that. Well, in 2013 is when I started my Ph.D. in psychology. So this is where all the research was directed at the time. But there is so much else that is going on in the brain and body that researchers hadn't yet answered, especially the immune system component. So how does this all tie together? This is where I will start part 2 and end the discussion for today. I hope you enjoyed this topic so far. Part 2 will be very exciting. I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you. Our immune system can quickly make more antibodies